What is up, guys? I'm not sure why my audio quality is so bad, but we'll deal with it, I guess. Anyway, uh, today I'm going to show you guys how to go through a card like one of these. This one's already done, but it's kind of how you do it. You just change each part of that. So, yeah, just top to bottom, there's a lot of little details in these cards that you got to get right. Otherwise, it'll kind of mess up the whole thing. So when I get started on a card, first what I do is get my render open. So I have a lot of renders already, but today I'm going to be doing, we'll do Brock Nuck. So I just open up his render in Photoshop right here. And just to make sure we're in the right place, where you want your render is right in this name and render folder. There's one already in here, which I always use to get the size right. But we can delete John Carlson there. Then what I do is I use the select tool, just get all around this, Control C, then you Control V it in there, and it'll pop up real big. So I think one of the trickiest parts here is just getting the size right. So you want them down here. There's a lot of shoulder in this card, so we'll be cutting a lot of that out. I made it a little too small here, so we just size it bigger. I'm always holding shift when I size stuff, just to keep the proportions right, otherwise you'll make them way too thin or something like that. So you want the proportions right on these, and it's just sizing it. So this is I kind of hate this picture of Capo Cackle because he's all head and then his shoulders just shrink down, and there's not a lot of pictures like that in the NHL. So this looks pretty good. I'm probably going to try to get the shoulders a little smaller because they're real wide on this picture. Um, but that's what I'm thinking for the size. So you see this here, and you see how it covers up the name. So then what I do is I get the rectangle marquee tool again, like I did in the other picture, and I just hover it over and line it up with the bottom of Capo Caco's like picture here, and that will get you the correct like thing. So you have this selected, and if you hit delete, you're actually going to delete what's inside this. So you can go up to select and hit inverse. I use Control Shift I sometimes too. You inverse that. So now you make sure your render selected down here, and then you hit delete, and it will delete everything outside this box. So now you'll see you have a clean picture. Boom, it's in there. Perfect. So that is set. To deselect, you can click it up here or Control D, deselect, and you've got your render down. That's one of the toughest parts, and you want to do a jersey swap just to make sure it's the right color. Like this picture of Bufflin would have been blue, but since he's on Baltimore, you want it to be red. So I'm not going to go over jersey swaps in this picture, or in this video, but I can do another one if you need to learn how to do that. So next up, just going through here, first name, all caps, Brock. Next name, all caps, Nuck. So you got these done. Now that's all you need to do in name and render. So you just do your own render for whoever you're doing, and I can't show it in this because I can only show one program, but you'll be working off the card Google Sheets, and that will have all the information for your guys. First and last name is his team, and you may need to go over that with someone to make sure it's their current team. Brock Nuck was on Calgary because he played there for a while, but now he's on Baltimore, so that is what is needed. So next up, changing the card background is what I do next. So that's real simple. Lime made it real easy. You can just unselect Buffalo or whatever's there, select Baltimore, and you should be good. Um, you might have this not selected, so even if there's an eyeball here, there's not one here, so just make sure that's that, and you're good to go there. So now that we've got this, we need to edit all of these stats. But that's also really easy to do. So you go here, his position, center, right wing, left D or right D. I haven't done a goalie yet, so I don't know how to get that stuff in here. But anyway, you just look it up on your sheet, or if it just says forward instead of their position, you have to look at the SHL card stats website, and I can put a link to that in the description. Just look up their peak season, and all these stats will show up as well as their position. So that's really helpful, and I've been using that a lot too. So Brock Nuck is a right wing at 77 overall, not great, but he's a depth player. And then his stats. So one tricky thing I've noticed is these are in the opposite order they appear in the sheet or the stats. So reading across left to right, his stats in the card stat sheet or on your Google sheet is 15, 18, 15, 17, 14. But in this, defense is first. So you got to go 14, 17, 15, 18, and 15. So it's backwards. And to edit text in this, if you click on this, if you double click on this, it will just do the layer name. So you want to double click on this T right here, and then it'll select that, and you can just type your numbers or letters in there, and it's really easy. Just replace that for you. So now that we have all that done, that is great. And we have one more thing to do, and that's the sidebar. So this was tricky for a lot of people. What you want to do for the tier is there is a specific tab on the sheet for tiers. And what I do is I just control F their name. It'll come up whether they're bronze, silver, gold, ruby, diamond, whatever. Nuck was a silver. That's generous. So I always unclick the eyeball just to make things easier. Like you could do bronze and silver, but then bronze will overlap because it's a higher layer. So just silver, the eyeball here, and you're good to go there. Then you, in this folder season, that's the season on the sidebar here. So he's not season 33, he's actually season 44. So you just type in 44 there. I always double click. It'll do the whole thing. I just hit right arrow, so it'll bring me to the back. Delete the two numbers and replace them with what he is. So we are all set there, and that is a finished card for Brock Nuck. Pretty simple. You can whip these out pretty fast. Once you have the renders done, you just pop them in, change all the stats, get the background right, and do the season. Bada bing, bada boom. So, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for checking this out, and good luck with your cards. And you can always tag me in Discord if you have any questions about this. Thank you. Goodbye.